Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to be going over Lab 4 in CIT 247. Now this lab is going to be a little different from the other ones you've done. Instead of building a network and adding configurations, you're basically going to be troubleshooting configurations. So you'll download a lab from Canvas and it'll be pre-made for you. It'll have some instructions here on the bottom that tell you what your network should do once you configure everything or troubleshoot everything. So you're not supposed to change any physical cabling. Please don't mess with any of that. Leave the topology as it is. Please don't change any IP addresses. They're the way they need to be. Make sure when you're troubleshooting to configure 802.1q encapsulation. If you see ISL cap encapsulation, that's a problem. VLAN 1 should also be the native VLAN on all VLANs. I'm sorry, trunks. These PCs, A1, A2, and A3 should be in VLAN 10, and PCs B1, B2, and B3 should be in VLAN 20. If you see any PCs that are not in the VLAN, they're in their respective VLANs, that's something else you need to troubleshoot. In addition, there'll be additional things you'll need to fix, but we'll discuss that here shortly. The first thing I want to do is go over some troubleshooting commands. Now, when you're troubleshooting, the first thing you want to do is when you get on a switch, run a bunch of show commands. That's what you need to do. That's what you're looking for, an issue, looking for anything out of the ordinary. So there's a number of commands that you can use, and they do different things. Some are very similar to one another. One of them is show interface description, or show int DESC, and that'll be enough. You can get the command. So what this does, displays the line protocol statuses for each switch port. So what does that mean? So if you go up here, let's see where I put that, right here. These are interface status codes. They let you know what is going on with a interface. If you see up, that means the interface should be working and everything's good with that part of your troubleshooting steps. Yep. The only other thing you're going to see in this lab is admin down. That means the interface is configured with the shutdown command. And we'll go over how to resolve that soon, but these other statuses, you're probably not going to see in this lab. We don't use port security. You won't have to deal with port security in this lab. This is not expected for switches. This is more of a router problem. And then you're not going to have a physical cabling problem like this. So admin down, if you see that, that's the one you'll need to resolve. If you see up, that's correct. So when you run like show interface description or show interface status, these commands or these codes up here, like here, will appear one of these. So you can do line protocol status, which is 2 words, or you can do interface status, which is just 1 word. Disabled, like here with show interface status, is going to equate to admin down in line protocol status. You can do either command, honestly, but it's completely up to you. Excuse me. So in addition to that, these commands here, there's show interface, and then you type the interface name. This shows a bunch of information on the interface. I don't think most of this information will necessarily be helpful to this lab, as we don't really deal with duplex stuff. And what you need is here, basically. What is appears in here is already going to be presented here. So you don't have to worry too much about this command. Show IP interface brief. There's another way to see line protocol status and also let you see an IP address on an interface. This is generally used for router troubleshooting, but you can use it on a switch too to check the like the IP address on a switch for telnet. I don't believe you're going to be troubleshooting that, so don't need to worry about this command too much. But you could get used to using it now instead of these two. If you'll be using later router troubleshooting, but these 3 commands, show or interface description, show interface status, and show IP interface brief, basically follow or basically perform the same purpose or have the same purpose. They show you line protocol status. You can see if an interface is down with these 3, any of these 3 commands. Next is show VLAN or show VLAN brief. This is very useful for seeing which ports are associated with which VLAN and whether a VLAN is disabled. So when you show VLAN, when you type in show VLAN or show VLAN brief, you'll see the VLANs on the switch. You'll see whether it's active or not, and then you'll see which interfaces are in that VLAN. This is going to be very important for the lab. You'll absolutely want to do a show VLAN brief on your switches to make sure everything's on the up and up with the VLANs that exist on the switch. Their statuses, they should be active, and then the interfaces that are associated with that VLAN. Show MAC address or show MAC address table is a good command to have. You really won't need to use it in this lab, but it is good for other circumstances and troubleshooting, but you won't need it in this lab. Show interface switch port. This is important. It shows important facts about switch ports. These facts include its name, whether a port is a trunk, and its trunk encapsulation. This is going to be very important in this lab. So administrative mode is what you're going to be looking at here. If this is not trunk on a trunking on an interface, it needs to be a trunk, then you need to fix that. Encapsulation should be .1q. Administrative mode, if you recall from the VLAN lab, administrative mode is what is set on an interface. Operational mode is what the interface is actually doing. So you don't want a dynamic desirable or dynamic auto in these ports. We want them to trunk. We want them to explicitly be trunk. And then you want .1q as your trunk encapsulation. If you don't have it, it's ISL. It won't work. Your configuration will not work. Then show int trunk does show this information as well, like the encapsulation on trunk, its status, like trunking. Then also one other thing it shows is native VLAN. Now, native VLAN on all the switches, as you recall in the lab, are supposed to be 1. If you see anything else other than a 1, then you'll need to fix that. Now, my command guide will have commands for troubleshooting that stuff, but you may need to refer to previous command guides for performing certain tasks that you've completed in previous labs. For example, associating interfaces with a VLAN, enabling interfaces, and so forth. That's what the command guides are for. This lab kind of shows you how to go back to previous command guides and pull up those commands. That's really helpful for the exam. That's what you'll be doing with the exam GNS assignments. So this lab kind of conditions you to be able to do that. They're getting used to that. So that's basically all the commands you'll use. Some you won't need in that list of commands, but most of them are very helpful. And my recommendation when you go troubleshooting is to just run them all. Run all those switch or show commands on the switch and check everything. Check all the trunking interfaces, check the VLANs, make sure they have all their ports, check the interface status of the check the statuses of the interfaces, make sure they're up, and check trunking information, check VLAN information. That's basically what you're going to be working with. Actually, I list all the problems that you'll see in this lab. You're basically going to find 6 problems total in your lab. You'll see a disabled interface. You'll see a disabled VLAN. You'll see an incorrect VLAN assignment on an interface. You'll see an incorrect native VLAN setting on the trunk interface. You'll see incorrect administrative mode on trunking ports. And then you'll see an incorrect encapsulation protocol setting on trunking ports. So you're going to see one of each of these problems in this lab. If please don't fix anything or try to fix anything else that isn't these problems, basically. You might end up messing something up. If you do mess up your configuration, what you can do is just re-download it from Canvas and start over. And the important thing is if you look at the lab document, why that isn't too bad is because you will be recording your problems. I highly recommend you record your problems, what commands you used, and then what commands you used to solve them as you work on the lab. Please don't wait until you're done with the lab to do this because you'll forget. If you read up here, I want a decently detailed description of what's going on with your configuration. So for example, I want you to, for each problem you find, I want you to tell me what interface or what VLAN or what trunking port is wrong. Like for example, here I say interface E3/2 is disabled on switch IOU1. So please tell me what switch the problem is the interface and what is wrong with that interface or VLAN. And I would like a little description, like how you found this problem. What PCs were you testing? What ping tests were you running? And then just tell me what the problem is. Like give a little detail on it. Like what error codes did you see? Did you see it administratively down/down? Did you see disabled, inactive, so forth? Let me know what you see. I'd like to see that. Diagnostic commands, you only need to use one, but you can do more than one. Yeah, experiment with the commands I just discussed in the PowerPoint and learn which ones can find which problems. That honestly is really good experience, but you only need to show one command if you want. Finally, for your resolution commands, let me know what you use to solve the issue. For example, I would like you to include conft and then the interface or VLAN command you use to configure that specific interface or VLAN, and then tell me what you ran in that sub mode, like no shutdown, enable, or whatever you run. Yeah, please let me know. I do give I do mention some very important points about writing down your problems. Like for example, please don't put something like PC1 cannot ping PC2 here. That's not a good problem description at all. I'm sorry, but the problem is that it doesn't really tell me what specifically is going on. This problem could be caused by a whole host of things. If a PC can't ping another one, it could be a trunking interface. It could be that the PCs aren't in the same VLAN. It could be the interface is disabled. It could be a whole host of things. And just describing what PCs couldn't ping is unfortunately not detailed enough. Therefore, your problem description needs to list the specific problem on the switch that is preventing the PCs from pinging. I can tell you the problems won't be on the PCs. It'll all be on the 3 switches you have in your lab right here. Let me get there. Yeah. Excuse me a moment. Okay, it won't let me back in. Come on. Okay, sorry about that. Uh-oh. Okay. My apologies for that. So anyway, so yeah, when you describe these problems, please list what switch it was on, what interface or VLAN was going wrong. And that will help you not only remember what you've done if you have to go back and start over, but it also help you get credit and it lets me know what you've done. So I also give details on how to solve these problems too in the slides here. So I tell you what the problem will look like it'll have a status, like a disabled interface will have the status of admin down/down, and the shutdown command was enabled on the interface. I show you how to find it, and I also tell you how to enable it. I don't tell you which commands to use, but I do tell you how to fix the issue. So this PowerPoint will be a very crucial component of your work in this lab. I list all 6 problems and how to solve them. I'll let you read those in your own time, but I also do provide one more thing, finding and resolving layer 2 issues. So all the problems you'll be dealing with this lab are layer 2, as that's what you've been learning in this class so far. So the first thing when you are troubleshooting a problem, the first thing you want to do is do some ping tests. Like see what can't ping, see what devices aren't working. So for example, PC1 can't ping these PCs. It can't ping any PCs in the network. So what that tells us is that if PC1 can't ping these 3 PCs, it can't ping anything, then there's likely a problem right here. So if PC1 could ping PC3 and PC4, but it could not ping PC2, we could deduce that there's likely a problem with the switch port leading to PC2, or in the real world, there could be a problem with PC2 itself. If PC1 cannot ping PC2 or 3, or excuse me, can ping PC2 but cannot ping PC3 or PC4, we could likely deduce there's likely something wrong with the trunking interface, or there could be something wrong with both these interfaces. So if you can just apply this logic as you're working on the lab, it'll help you narrow down what issue you're likely dealing with. Next is to, after narrowing down the problem, use show commands to find what the source of the problem is. So in this example here, we found that PC1 can't ping anything. So there's a good chance there's something wrong with this interface leading to PC1. So you log into switch 1 or IOU1, or you just double click into GNS. You do a show command like show interface description, make sure the PC is in the same VLAN as PC2 and all that stuff. But since it can't ping anything, there's a very good chance that the interface is down, which it is in this example. So to resolve it, I do show you how to resolve this one. So go into global configuration mode, select the interface, type the no shutdown command, and that's basically it. Once you run no shutdown, you'll see like a message. You'll see like a switch message from syslog confirming that it worked. And that's basically all there is to it. So I do discuss port security, but you won't have to worry about that. That's kind of an additional topic in this lab. But that's basically it. This is with the information you have between the command guides and this PowerPoint here, I think this lab should be relatively easy for you all. Just make sure to use the resources. You have all the resources you need to pass and do really well in this lab. I would highly recommend you use them to your advantage. If you want to figure out stuff on your own, honestly, I encourage that too. And if you need help, regardless of what method you're tackling this lab with, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. Once again, I'd like to just say one more time, please go back and use previous command guides if need be for doing other things you did in previous labs, such as the VLAN configurations and trunking configuration stuff. That command guide was very helpful. But anyway, thank you very much for tuning into this video. Again, I'm happy to help you, and you have a good day.